let's move on to some other properties. So to get rid of all of these keyframes, remember we just click the stopwatch again. But once we do that, it actually stays at the value where our timeline indicator is basically. So if I click this there, it's going to stay at 0%. So I'm going to move that back up to 100%. So let's bring down all of our transform properties. Let me just make this a little bit bigger, fit up to 100%. All right, so now you know how to set keyframes. So it's rather simple to create a position animation. So say we want our square to end up here. Let me take my selection tool. We'll set a keyframe for our position. So decide what time you want it to end at this position. So we'll do 1 second and set a keyframe for position there. Maybe we want it to pop up from beneath this composition itself. So I went back to 0 seconds and I'm going to drag this down. And you'll see as I start dragging, because I have a position keyframe, we get this sort of line with little dots stretched between the 2 points. You'll also notice that as I drag down, it's kind of hard to make it precisely going perfectly vertically up without going from side to side. Well, to lock it in place, press the Shift button. And as I do that now, it's kind of locked in place like so. And it locks horizontally or vertically. So now if I drag down below our composition, then let go, and then let me bring in my work area so we can see this animation, and then press the space bar, we have this animation of this square popping up. Cool, right? We can actually add multiple animations to the same object, and that's how we get things to be more intricate. So maybe we want it to grow while it's moving up on the screen. So at 1 second, let's set a keyframe for scale at 100% and then go back. And sometimes I like to leave it on. I don't want to go back to 0 seconds because I can't see the square. So I'll just go somewhere right here in the middle where I still see the square. I'll decrease the scale to where I think I want it. And then, because I don't want it to just go like pop up and then all of a sudden grow, I want it to be growing the whole time. I'll just drag this keyframe for scale all the way to the left. And I did that just so that I can see what I'm working with. So let's play through this. So it's growing as it's appearing on the screen. And then let's just add rotation. So let's rotate. So this will be the final resting spot at this rotation. We'll go back again and let's rotate to the left. Now the problem that I see is that our anchor point isn't in the center of this object. So what happens is it rotates from that anchor point, which is a little off center, which actually looks kind of cool. But if we wanted it to be from the center, you're going to have to do a little extra work. We'll take this pan behind tool. So let's move this back to the center. And then what we'll have to do is see where the position starts. So if we'll go down to where the position starts, we have to put our timeline indicator over this keyframe or it's not going to work. And then we take our selection tool and let's move this down. So now it's rotating from the center and it's moving straight up. And remember what I just did, I pressed the space bar to move my composition up or down. You'll notice that outside of our composition that we still see the outline of our square. And this is just a way that After Effects lets us sort of see what's happening outside of our composition when we have a layer selected. When I don't have that layer selected, you see the square, but you don't see the path that it's on. A good rule of thumb though is if you want your animation to be from the center of an object, make sure that you set your anchor point first. All right, now we have this pretty cool animation of the square popping up. What if we want to change the rotation? This is just a reminder that if we want to make it rotate even more and we want to change this first one, remember we can't just go in the middle of these two keyframes and change the rotation. Say we want it from -36 to -94. Because what's happening is now it's going from -79 to -94 and then back to 0. You'll want to go all the way to the first keyframe, and now with our time indicator on the first keyframe, set the rotation to whatever you want it to start at, like 94. Another way you can do that is just by deleting this keyframe and then moving the one that you just set all the way to the left where it started, or really wherever you want. So that has a little bit more of a rotation, and that's how you change keyframe values after the fact. In the next lesson, we're going to be making our animation look better and a little bit more natural.